What if there was a way to break down music itself and the way that we perceive music into colors or flavors, where we could hear something that sounds nice and be able to recognize what we hear and say, wow, I love how that sounds, and I recognize it. When you heard it, you were able to tell what it was. You were able to recognize it and identify it. It was familiar to you. And through this familiarity, you could either recognize it when you heard it, or you could deliberately yourself create and duplicate that musical sound using that flavor, that color, that sound that you recognize. You could use that to create your own music, even if it were just a 2-second little jingle. Haven't you ever heard a song come on the radio and as soon as it first started playing, you immediately knew which song it was? Have you ever heard a particular piece of a melody or a part of a jingle, and as soon as it hit your ears, you recognized it? You recognized what you were hearing, even though you heard it in one song, but when you heard it in another song, you were like, yeah, I've heard that before in a different song. Music does have this nature. It does have these colors, if you will. It has flavors. These recognizable things that we all recognize, for lack of a better word. You could call them phrases. You could call them motifs. But whatever you call them, even these little pieces of music are usually made up of smaller building blocks that have been sewn together. What are these building blocks, and how can ordinary people who are not regular Mozarts understand them? We know that the most fundamental or foundational element in music is pitch, or the note. But in my opinion, the real building block is not made from a note only, because a note has no reference point other than you identifying how fast that note is vibrating. Or you can use an instrument such as a guitar string tuner meter to find the exact pitch of the note. This alone is not sufficient to create music. It's not musical by itself. No. In my opinion, music begins when you start to play two notes, either simultaneously or one after another. When we do this, the two notes will play off of one another. They will react to one another, if you will. They will blend together. One note, adding notes, two notes, adding different other notes. And the way that they blend or rub off of one another, I'm just using different ways of saying the same thing, will create the beginning of the music, the beginning of flavor, the beginning of color in music. Two notes being played at the same time, or one immediately after another, is what we can call an interval. So in my opinion, an interval is actually the fundamental building block, the first, smallest unit of music, not an individual note by itself. Through the understanding of what intervals are, and through gaining familiarity with how to use them, we can create or copy musical ideas and sounds. Notice I didn't just say sounds. The sound of a bus hitting a pothole is a sound. A note by itself is not music. No, very much like how people, when they're alone and just by themselves, say for example, one person playing basketball in the park, it's not very interesting. It's only when you bring in multiple personalities, multiple individuals, multiple people into the game that the game becomes alive. Likewise, you need to put more than one note into the same space, into the same context before the music comes alive. You see, there are many different intervals we can become familiar with. They are the beginning of how we can develop musical phrases, strings of notes that sound musical. In my next video, which you will be able to find here somewhere, or in the description of this video, I will be showing how to find these intervals on the guitar or on the piano. I'll be showing both because I believe it's very useful for any aspiring musician to be able to do both. If that sounds like it will be beneficial to you, I'll see you over there. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this if you desire to see yourself become the musician that you always imagined yourself to be. Take care for now.